Hello, Sam here, Scott's wife. Nice to meet you all. I'm going to start with an apology because I'm English and that's what we do. So, firstly, I'd like to apologise for not being Scott. And secondly, I'd like to apologise for not being technical in the roof area, shall we say. So, after seeing the house for just 1 hour, where we were told by our estate agent that the roof was like new, we decided to purchase the house. Crazy, I know, but that's us. As you can see from this shot down the road, you can't see the roof, so we very much took them at their word, which ended up being to our detriment because when the first big rain came in the May, we had a lot of wetness on the top floor, shall we say. But being British and Canadian, we had no idea how, local French tiles worked. Our tiles that go under the tiles, I'm really not sure how they stay up. I'm guessing magic or lime mortar, but magic sounds more fun. Or maybe both, who can tell? But after that first rain, Scott kind of went up on the roof, and as you can see from these shots, really not like new, or at least not in our definition of what new looks like. So yeah, that made life interesting. We had to sue for what is called a vis caché, which is a hidden defect. And it has taken us a very long time to get to this point. We took a settlement offer. It wasn't enough for the whole roof, but it was enough to move on. And hopefully we'll have enough left to do the rest of the house. So yeah, just some more shots of the lovely old, like new roof. We have a lot of chimneys as well. That's something that is quite surprising. Not really sure what they all do, but there you go. Some nice views of the village or the Mountain Noir here. So that's from the back, the view from the back of our house, which is lovely. And there's another chimney and some roofs. Delightful. This is our skylight window, pyramid skylight window and the pigeonry. And the skylight window is above our stairwell, and the pigeonry is next to that. It's actually quite a large room, a lot larger than you would think, which is nice. This is why we needed a new roof, quite frankly, not like new in the least. So the roof works started. We interviewed about 5 roofers for this job. And the pricing brackets were insane, really quite different depending on who you spoke to. And we elected to go for someone who was middle to low. So definitely not the cheapest, but was the person that we felt most comfortable with. And on their website, they'd stepped in to fix another antique roof that another roofer had walked away from. So we felt comfortable with them from that perspective that they could do the job. So the first thing to do was to remove all the 2 layers of tiles. So there you go. So you can see the top layer of tiles has gone at this point, and that's the lovely pigeonry and some chimneys. We did have a number of the chimneys removed, and it was going to be a 4-week job, which they started and finished on time, which is great. There's some roofers on the roof, all very exciting. So the first week was very much just putting up scaffolding because I think there were 2 bank holidays that week. There's a lot of bank holidays in May. This is the machine that they would use to bring well, I guess tiles and stuff up to the roof, or large, that looks like OSB to me, large bits of equipment. They also used Union Matériaux, which is a French DIY store for builders. So they would come with a flatbed with everything on the back of the flatbed lorry, and the cherry picker would then not drop, that would be ridiculous, place gently the tiles or whatever it was they procured onto the roof so that the roofers could get on with it. But as you can see, they made quite good headway on the first side of the roof, which was great. I think that was around about week 2. Like I said, first week, very much just getting the scaffolding in place. And then it was a matter of removing all the tiles. They had a lot of people up there. Some point, I think there's maybe like 5 or 6, but there was always 4 at any one time, which was great. They spoke no English. Our French is pretty rubbish, but they were very kind to us and were able with us to use our phones. Google Translate is a lifesaver. Worked out really well for us, and they were super helpful, not just with the roof, but like at one point we needed the hot water heater moving upstairs. It was 80 kilos, so not something Scott and I could do on our own, and they very kindly helped us. So this is what it looked like when the OSB was on the roof, and you can see the tiles on one side and the OSB on the other. Still freaks me out that the ceilings were held up with wires, just bizarre. But there you go. This is the stairwell. As you can see, it's quite beautiful. Obviously, je blague. It is not. And this is where they were taking the skylight out. Bit of one of the chimney that's from the pellet heater next to the window. Just see it on the top of the screen here, the red blinds. But yeah, beautiful blue skies. No rain predicted or anything for that day. So it was left open to the elements for that evening, which turned out not to be the right thing to do. So the weather's can be quite unpredictable here, especially sort of spring, summer, in that you can get into a heat wave, and then the only thing that's going to clear it is a thunderstorm. And in this instance, I don't think it was that hot at that point, but yeah, we ended up having a lovely thunderstorm that evening, with, very little roof on one side, and a great big gaping hole, several holes by the looks of it actually, where the windows and chimneys had come out. And as you can see here, some of the roof had gone as well. So that was how it was left. And then very shortly after that, there was a random storm. It only lasted sort of 45 minutes to an hour, but it managed to make everyone quite wet. I'm not going to lie. But then, in the Black Mountains, you could see quite often it will rain in the Black Mountains, but it won't rain on us. Sadly, that was not the case this time. I guess I should also mention that the pyramid window was out of scope for the roofers, which is why, again, they very kindly offered to remove it for us. We said, yes, please, thank you very much. And then Scott was going to put it in once the roof was finished. So now you can see the rain has come, garden looking very, very wet. I think you might be able to see rain on this, although still sunny, bizarre. And so we use the blinds to stem the flow of rain, chuck down rugs, towels to try and, to be fair, the floor's stone. And as you can see, we haven't actually done anything to the stairwell yet, apart from move some of the wallpaper. So it wasn't the biggest deal. And then the next morning, it was. You see, this is what I don't understand as someone who's, not electrical, roofy, whatever. Um, Very wet electrical wires there. Now, I always thought electricity and water was a bad thing. So why aren't we dead? The most damage was this room where I think the water was pooling into the side on that, and then the rest of it was the kind of water damage that we'd been getting prior to the roof being replaced anyway. So there's the tiles after, I guess, a delivery from Union Materiaux. And this is what they did the next day. They worked like stink to OSB and membrane the other side, just in case. They were very apologetic for the inconvenience of the rain and the damage. Well, it wasn't really damage. Like I said, the ceilings were screwed anyway. From a distance, you can see all of that. So the front of the roof at that point, almost finished. I think they were doing guttering, battens down, counter battens on the back. We did have an issue on the back where I think in their haste, they weren't putting the battens, assuming the battens are the ones that go, I don't remember which ones go which way, but the ones that need to be screwed or nailed into the rafters. Scott went up and there was like a massive nails coming through the OSB where they'd missed the rafters. We pointed this out to them. They apologized. Like I said, I think they were just trying to get it all on as quickly as possible in case we had more rain. So I think in a minute you'll see where there are double battens / counter battens. Like I said, I can't remember which ones are which. Pigeonry looking quite sexy now. And there you can see all the doubles, and in some case triples, of where the battens needed to be corrected. And then in the it was just one strip. And in the interior, they very kindly just sawed off, I guess, the ends of the screws or nails or whatever it is you would use. So that if anyone pops their head up and accidentally jumped, like Scott did when we were watching the first episode of Untamed and a bear appeared randomly, you're not going to brain yourself on a screw. Or there's the skylight, not very pyramid-y at that point. Not quite sure what that hole is there for. Maybe that's the window. Maybe that's the access window. It's over there. I don't know. Scott would know. This is why really he probably would have been better off doing the voiceover, but it is what it is. You got me. I can only apologise. There you can see everything's pretty much done now. And there's the gutters on the front, looking delightful. And a tile delivery from the front. Again, I went out into the street to see if you could see anything from below. You can't, but say, well, just admire the gutters. Aren't they nice? And what we do over here is everyone keeps the original, like Victorian, or I guess Napoleon III, original bottoms of the gutters because they're solid iron, and that gives you protection if anyone bashes into them. Obviously not needed around the back because it's just us, and that's not the sort of thing we do. But you can see it looking good. Not finished on the back because, as you can see, there's the empty pipe hole that I need to finish at some point, and the new pipe hole with pipes in it. So we do need to fill those. Turns out I'm a very good brickie. Because for me, it's like buttering a cake, or, buttering bricks is what I used to call it. So it's like icing a cake. Not done stones before, but I mean, the principle's the same. We'll see. I'm sure it'll be fine. But there's our little back door and the gutters. We put the ends on because, like I said, summer, we have a lot of these storms, and it just meant that we could direct, rather than it coming in through potential holes where those pipe holes are into the house, that we could direct it into the what will be the caniveau. And I'm not really sure. It's probably a gutter, right? That you would call it, a drain system. I don't know. A little trough where the water gathers and then gets pushed into our grey water system. You'll be able to see the whole roof in its glory finished in the video about the implementation of the pyramid skylights, which I think might be the next one I get to edit. Don't forget to like and subscribe and do all the good YouTube stuff. Thank you. Bye bye.